Hey, Tina.
Hey, what's up, Miss Yolanda?
Having a great day. I'm happy to have this book discussion.
I am too. It's one to talk about.
It's one to talk about. Indiscretions with Jessica Tillis. This one was hot.
Hot.
And let's jump right into
Absolutely.
it. All right, here we go. So welcome to Griot Connects, where we bring the stories and voices of Black literary talent to the forefront. I'm your host, Yolanda Rasco, with my infamous co-host, Tina Wise. And today we have a special guest, Jessica Tillis. She's the author behind the captivating and provocative novel, Indiscretions. This book delves into the complexities of love and betrayal.
With a capital B.
Yeah, there's a lot of betrayal in this story. But it also has a really cool dance with secrets and around how lives are impacted by those secrets. So join us and as we explore the inspiration behind the work and the characters that draw you in and the power of the storytelling in creating these unforgettable indiscretions. Jessica Tillis, welcome. I am telling you, I can't talk right now. There's just been so much happening in this story. You have me stuttering. First and foremost, this story was compelling to me because I have in the past been a little bit of a romance snob, right? And so when I started reading it, I was like, okay, romance. But baby, this story just grabs you. It brings you in. It keeps you going. It's a page turner. I loved every minute of it. I'm not even going to lie. As a snob. Yeah, this is another snob over here.
I'm not a snob.
She's a snob. But Jessica, before I don't want to, tell too much about the story because there's so many twists and turns. So I'm going to ask you to open up, lay out the storyline for our listeners so they can come up to speed and be just as excited as I am.
Okay, so Indiscretions, first of all, was 9 years in the making.
Wow.
Yeah, took me 9 years. And then that's another whole story in itself. But Indiscretions is a story of 3 couples who each have their own indiscretions in their own lives.
Yes, they do.
Whether it's in the past or the present. However, those indiscretions, regardless of when they were done, comes back to bite them in the butt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's some biting going on. Oh, yeah. That's what I love about it is because, you don't even know when the bite's coming.
No, and some of those bites I have to tell you.
Yeah. Jessica, you did that so well. You really laid out the characters. The characters are so lovable and nice. I know these people.
Yes, we know these people.
Yeah. And then what, Tina?
And then you say, oh my God.
Right.
I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you. So you have, not to give the story away.
Not to give it all away.
I'll say there's a whole lot of betrayal going on and a whole lot of hotness.
I was getting ready to say, when she gave me the book for me to read, she's like, it's a little spicy. I was like,
it's spicy.
Okay, cool.
It's
all I
spicy.
kept hearing was, it's getting hot here. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's spicy.
Yeah.
But actually, Jessica, that's what I enjoyed about it. Not for nothing. Like I say, I tend to go into some of the heady stuff, but I was like, I need to get Rob over here and read this with me.
Yeah, that would
do it. It is absolutely, it's so entertaining.
That would do it.
Yeah, that would do it. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to do, I would recommend this even as a book club book. Seriously. And I would highly recommend it as an audio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
Yeah. These characters would totally come to life in an audio version.
Yeah. I agree.
So, let's talk about the characters. Let's talk a little bit
Give
about
me,
the
give
characters.
me a second because what you just said,
Well.
well,
Take your time.
as an author, as a writer,
Yes.
you pour your, I can only speak for me. As a writer, I pour my heart and soul into everything I create. And sometimes I hit the ball out the park, and then sometimes it's a dud,
Yeah.
And this book here, this is my first book that I've put out since 2015.
Mm.
Because I had a publishing company. I still have a publishing company, but I had 85 authors on my roster. And so I focused on them and took the spotlight off of me
Uh-huh.
until around 2013-ish. I just decided I'd had enough of publishing other people and I wanted to get back to Jessica Tillis. And of course, I have this other company where I do editing, book cover design, ghostwriting. So all of that had my focus, but I tried my best with Indiscretions for 9 years. At first, it was called trespassing.
There was that too.
There was that too. Yep.
And I I wasn't feeling it because it felt like the old Jessica Tillis. And I felt like if I was going to come back out after all these years, I needed to come back with a freaking bang, right?
Baby, you
And
did
it
it.
just wasn't doing it. And I let so many people read it. Oh yeah, I love it. I was like, okay. And then I belonged to a writers group in Myrtle Beach,
Okay.
South Carolina. I live in Maryland. Okay. So we meet once a month on Zoom, and they read Indiscretions. It wasn't called Indiscretions then. It was called Trespassing, and they read it and they absolutely hated Malcolm
Poor Malcolm.
because in Trespassing, it was Malcolm and Zora, and not Zora and Keith.
And Keith, yeah.
Okay.
And Zora and Kennedy are best girlfriends since junior high school.
Right,
They
right.
said, "Oh my God, no, I don't like Malcolm. You can't. Oh my God, 5 years." So I said, "Okay." I didn't like that vibe, so I totally rewrote
Oh,
But
wow.
it's
the
great.
character.
I have a question. It's about, I guess, the moral dilemmas that these characters find themselves in. Can you tell me a little bit about like how you got there?
To create those dilemmas,
Yeah.
you mean?
The dilemmas.
That's a good question. So there are two ways you can write a book. You write using an outline, or you write from the seat of your pants. I'm a pantser. I don't outline. I
Okay,
write the
okay.
first thing that pops off my head. So what happens is while I'm writing, and I write at night with the lights down and a glass of wine and the music on, and I'm just all the dogs asleep, and the characters take over.
Mm-hmm.
I could see.
I can
And
see
I'm
that.
just going with the flow. It's almost like it's an out of body experience
Yeah, I can
where
see that.
Jessica
Yeah.
is back there somewhere.
Yeah.
And so the characters are just doing their thing.
Because you have to, so I'm going to interject here because here's the skinny. I met Jessica at a book conference, National Book Conference. By the way, if you all haven't been, you should go. It's here in Atlanta. It's done in an amazing way.
Yeah.
There's
National Book Club Conference.
National Book Club Conference.
Okay.
And they tend to do it like August-ish. But that's where I met Jessica. Sweet person, so nice and
You never would have thought.
never would I have thought that the words on that page, right? So when you talk about how you created these characters and they kind of came to life, they took on their own personas and so forth, I can see that because they are external from yourself, from your natural tendency, I imagine. Right? Is that?
Well, I will say this. each of those characters start out, being someone I know.
Oh, see, I knew that.
You knew
I
that?
knew that. I knew
Yeah.
that. I knew
Being
that.
someone I know.
Oh
Like
my God.
Kennedy is modeled after her look, her character, her personality.
Kennedy was something
All
else.
of they're always modeled after someone I know.
Oh, baby. Now
I
you
can
done
see
opened up
that.
another can of worms. Because I actually did see somebody in there too, but I didn't want to say that out loud.
People that I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that kind of brings me to a question about the consequences. So because I do know people who kind of, behave in a certain way, and it's not like they're looking out 5 years out, 10 years out to get a sense of what is this choice or decision going to mean 5 years from now. Right. And I think about the characters in the story, right? The choices that they made. Okay, it feels good today, but what's it going to look like and feel like 5 years from now, a
But
couple
see, I
years
think
from now?
that's the thing that makes it so relatable, because oftentimes people do things, they are aware somewhere in the back of their minds of the potential consequences.
Of the consequences.
But they don't care.
Okay, don't say that, Tina. See, you know what? This is my
So
friend.
let me say something. Let me hold that, Tina. Listen. Thank you for the
I'm just
sequel.
saying.
Called Consequences. Thank you. I received an email from a reader who's a client of mine who said, listen, I need to know, give me a 5 years later, where are these
Exactly.
characters? How are they dealing?
Yes.
And you
I'm waiting too. I ain't lying, Jessica. Jessica
let me
Tillis.
write that down.
Jessica Tillis,
Consequences.
you must follow up. So I don't want to give away
Okay.
the storyline, but what I do want to say is this. The choices that your characters made, right? It all kind of comes together, towards the end of the book, of course. You don't expect it to unfold that way. So it's full of surprises. I like that.
Love it.
The energy, the surprises, how it unfolds, it is exciting. However, I was a little angry with, I'm just going to say Maceo at the very end, because I didn't want him to just walk away at that moment. I put it that way. I need another chapter.
Because you want to know the consequences.
I want to know the consequences, and I want to know kind of, does he sort it out? What is his next move? How does he move forward?
Well, so not giving it away.
Don't give
but
it away.
You know what happens at the end.
Yes.
So, of course, naturally, he's like, I'm not,
Naturally.
can't be anymore. I mean, of course.
Naturally.
Yeah.
But he tells her, thank you. I'm paraphrasing, thank you, because now I've met someone and I know what love is now.
Look how she rolled her eyes.
I know.
Oh, I can't wait for the next one.
I know. Well, I'm going to tell you, thank you so much for leaving us with a cliffhanger and having something else to look forward to. But my next question goes to the auntie conversation.
Aunties.
Do you remember that?
I remember it very clearly.
Because the aunties, it was just so again relatable. Here, just to set it up, in this part of the story, Kennedy is coming to terms with some
Something that has happened.
tough stuff,
Yes.
really difficult things. She's got
Yes.
some difficult, complex choices that she has to make,
Yes.
right? And I've been that girl.
Rabbi?
You've been that girl.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a little help sorting things out.
Absolutely.
You're just, your mind is just kind of spinning. There's too much going on, lots of consequences to going in this direction or that direction. Like, what do I do? And what I wanted to ask you, Jessica, when you think about, you wrote this whole, it was a very tender moment for me, the auntie conversation. This was a time when your character needed guidance, she needed comfort, and a lot was hanging in the balance in that moment. Those aunties could have said pretty much anything, and she would have followed,
done it.
that advice. Can you talk a little bit about the aunties in your own life, Jessica? Because if you're writing this about personas and archetypes, tell us about your aunties. I know it's an auntie back up in there.
You met both of them in Indiscretions.
Aha.
Okay.
Both aunts are based on my great aunts. They are my grandmother's sisters, Aunt Ethel and Aunt Feeney. We called her Aunt Feeney, but her name was Lorraine.
All right, Aunt
And the whole scene, the house, everything was Aunt Ethel's house.
Oh, wow.
Her cousins that she meets when she gets there, they're based on my cousins Monica and Angela. And so anyone who reads my book that's family, they're going to see themselves in my book. And so the way her aunties spoke to her and advised her, that's exactly the type of advice that I'd received at a time or two from my aunts.
I love
and,
that.
and they're old school. Well, baby, listen.
Right.
Men don't do what men don't do.
I was going to ask you if that was your reflection of maybe the difference in generational viewpoints on how we get through things. And where that whole concept of forgiveness and making a choice comes in.
Yeah, because it's hard to talk about this and not give it away.
I know, right?
As her aunt said, listen, he was in college. You weren't even married. Why are you tripping?
Right. Why are you tripping?
He didn't even know.
Yeah.
So why are you tripping?
Yeah.
And that I have to I have another book, Loving Simone. I put my aunts in my books because they're all gone. My mom's gone, and it just makes me feel close to them. There's another.
It makes us feel close to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And when she takes her daughter to Hampton University, and on the way back, she and her husband stop at Aunt Caroline.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my Aunt Johnny.
Love it.
My grandmother had a slew of sisters. It was like 9 of them.
And they're great. Like, clearly they influenced your life.
Yeah, and it resonates when you've had that. I have had similar experiences, even in terms of taking the kid to college.
Yeah.
And how that felt.
Right.
When I dropped my daughter off. But then I cried when she went to kindergarten.
Oh my God, here we go.
I did, like a baby.
Cried when she went to kindergarten?
Wept, not cried.
So what did you do when you dropped her off to school, though?
Which one?
To choked.
Wept. They have it on tape.
Again. This is a
Yes.
crier.
I'm not normally a crier at all, but it's just something about that transition.
Yeah, and that
I didn't give my mother time to cry.
What?
When I was in kindergarten, my mother was a school teacher. She taught at Shad Elementary School in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That's why I cried.
I went to Shad in kindergarten, so I would sneak out the room and find my way to her classroom. She didn't have time to cry. I was always standing in her face.
You were always curious, independent, going off, doing your own thing, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that's what makes all of these stories so amazing.
I agree.
You would agree?
I agree. And the characters were so They were human beings.
Yeah, they were very human.
They were human beings.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's how and you know what? I'm glad you got that because I don't like to write my characters like just make up characters. I use people I know
mhm,
and I use everything about that person. Just that they're not doing what, and
right,
like what's going on in the book. But
right.
that's what makes the characters feel human, feel real.
Very real. Very real. And
Well, we could hope some of that reality translates.
yeah, going back to that whole forgiveness question, right? Talking about how difficult it is and
Yeah.
how it happens. And then, I mean, I could tell you, at this stage in life, we've had to, Tina, you know this, you've had to forgive a whole lot of people.
I have had to forgive a whole lot of people for myself,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not so much for them.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of the point.
Yeah, that's the choice wherein it's hard.
Right, right. And in this book, just, sticking with the concept of betrayal
With a capital B.
with a capital B, the kind of betrayal that, forgiveness doesn't come easily.
No, not at all.
No. And, that's in another episode, we talked about friendships and girlfriend friendships and so forth and how important that is. So oftentimes when there is betrayal of somebody that is dear to you, that you've known for many, many, many years, that you feel like you know them really well, that whole
And
sisterhood
if you think
thing.
that they would never do such a thing.
Never do such a thing, but then they do.
Yeah.
And that's where forgiveness comes in.
Yeah. And whether or not you're able to do it. So see how much you've given us?
Well, thank you for giving that to me because that will be the whole consequences.
The consequences.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's,
forgive me.
that's the hard part. Like if I were to say forgiveness, like I come from I'm doing air quotes, Christian background, where in your book you quote the Lord's Prayer, forgive those who have trespassed against us, right? And we as Christians hold to that. Oh, we have to forgive 70 times 70.
But you don't have to forget.
See, this is
Well, you
why
won't forget. Yeah.
that is the
can't
whole
forget.
piece. That is the piece. What happens next?
Right.
Okay, so I could say, I'm going to forgive this trespass, but now what? What is next? That's the hard
Well,
part.
Well, I can forgive you. I'm not going to forget. And because I forgive you doesn't mean I have to deal with you.
Oh,
Yay, bo.
deal
And
with
see, that's Jessica. That's how Jessica is. I forgive for me because it makes me feel good. And listen, people are going to do what they're going to do.
right.
And Zora didn't intentionally.
You know what? Don't.
I know. See that word right there. That
The
word right there. I
blessing
didn't intend.
No,
See, I want to talk about that. I'm so glad you said that word intend, because every time somebody tell me I didn't intend to hurt you, I didn't intend to knock you over with this bit of information, I didn't intend to roll you under the bus.
Well, what we used to say when we were kids.
What?
Sorry didn't do it.
Sorry, show didn't do it, but what? You did. So that's what I mean. Like, how do you move on? That's why we have to get this next sequel so we see how in the world are they going to move
wait.
on.
So when is it coming out?
Jessica?
When is it? I
When-
gotta write it first.
Well, hurry up.
First, you gotta write it first.
Hurry up.
Well, I think
Okay. Well, I tell you what.
Okay.
I tell you what. For you, I have a book club discussion this evening, but when I get home tonight, I'll start on consequences.
Yeah.
And it will come out definitely in 2025, but I'll try early part of 2025. Maybe I'll put the current book I'm working on to the side and really focus on consequences and getting that out since it is a sequel. See.
See?
Want a sister get a galley?
I know, right?
You certainly can.
Because it's burning.
That would
We
be
have
a
to
great
bring you
idea.
back.
You can be my beta reader.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely be honored to.
Yeah, it was a great read.
Okay.
Did you have any other questions?
No,
Tina?
I'm just waiting for my galley now.
Jessica, you did an incredible job with this. What I will tell you is that each and every I'ma say story within the story can be expanded on because the lives of these people are super
Yeah,
interesting
you could write like 6 more books.
out of each of these characters.
Especially Kennedy and Malcolm's daughter, Lindsay and Max. Don't forget them.
Yeah, that's the youngins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see what happens in their life
Yeah.
and what happens with Malcolm and Eric. We didn't even mention
Yes.
Eric.
The whole
Right?
other thing.
Little
That
Eric.
Eric he's an indiscretion.
He's an indiscretion. He's a consequence.
And an indiscretion at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting story. So,
Yeah.
all of that said, I just want to celebrate you as an incredible author for this book, Indiscretions. You did an awesome job.
An
with it.
amazing job.
Thank you for doing it. Thank you for entertaining us, for inspiring us, for showing us how to move forward, how to get through some of these difficult, complex life scenarios. And we look forward to what's up next.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This has just been wonderful.
I agree. See you soon.
So
I'm waiting
glad
for
you
my
came.
galley.
Yes,
Thank
dear.
you.
Okay.
Absolutely. I will not forget. Absolutely.
All right, you take care.
Thank you so much.